Good evening. This edition of Agenda comes to you from the capital's India Habitat Centre, and we're really talking about sartorial despotism. And to tackle that, Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has now introduced a new bill in the assembly in Tamil Nadu. But what seems like it's really set off everyone talking and debating it across the country, with a lot of politicians actually supporting it. To talk about it, we have this young audience, and of course also some people over here like former Minister, Trinamool MP Saugato, who, as you can see, is a huge advocate of dhotis. We also have a young lawyer over here, public policy lawyer Suhaan, Mukherjee, and an expert in Indian costumes and outfits, Ritu Kumar, fashion designer Ritu Kumar. We'll be talking to them in just a bit. First, let's take a look at what Jayalalithaa said and the kind of reactions that it has generated.
Most men in Chennai would reserve the dhoti for special occasions like wedding or festivals, and definitely the outfit is not a daily wear. It's just a symbolic fight. But the larger question, will any law against dress code in clubs stand legal scrutiny?
இது ஒரு sartorial despotism.
Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has swung into action, and she has reflected the pulse of the people of Tamil Nadu.
Because it's a judge who has been stopped, people say it must be taken up.
Our legislatures should spend more time debating more important things which are going to provide upliftment to the common man.
Wearing an outfit that the government has to come in to the public and say you should wear only this, you should not wear this. I think that should not be there.
So the first talking point this evening, sartorial despotism, that's what Jayalalithaa called it. Does it need a law to be tackled? Saugato, most people are very happy about the fact that, these fuddy-duddy rules that are there in clubs, especially in Kolkata, we've seen a lot of these rules. These rules that are there, that's fine. But does there need to be a law to tackle it?
No, the need for a law has come up because in Chennai city, a sitting high court judge wearing a vesti, that is dhoti, was not allowed entry into the Madras Cricket Club. Now, a lot of people felt that it was an insult to the Indian dress. The Tamil Nadu Chief Minister has rightly taken the step of enacting a law, which she has called the Tamil Nadu Entry into Public Places, Removal of Restriction of Dress Act 2014,
That's right.
which was introduced in the Assembly. The simple question is this, that these dress codes for clubs are a hangover of our colonial past. Now, with time, many of the dress codes have changed, but it seems strange that in Chennai, they persisted. For instance, I come
Not just Chennai, all over, in Delhi as well.
I'll come to Delhi later. We are sitting here at the India Habitat Centre. I'm a member of this centre. There is no dress code in India Habitat Centre. Kolkata, where I come from, has two elite clubs, one the Calcutta Club and the Bengal Club. Both of them allow the traditional Bengali attire, that is dhoti and kurta. There are other sporting clubs like Tollyganj Club and Calcutta Cricket and Football Club, which are mainly for playing games and where people even go wearing shorts. So such a dress code is not enforced anywhere. These dress codes are naturally a hangover from the past, and these dress codes cannot be imposed on people who are not members of the club. When you have a club, you have members. On the members, you can impose restriction. But when the club is having a public function to which people are invited, you cannot impose.
I understand the logic that you're saying. The question that I want to know, and Ritu Kumar, perhaps you can answer that as well. Yes, we know that these are silly laws, and a lot of clubs have them. But do we really need a law to enact this?
Because it became necessary because a sitting High Court judge was debarred from entering
just
the
because
club.
he was a judge, that's why you had to bring it in.
No,
so he was
because he heard the sentiment of normal Tamilians that they are.
But aren't there other priorities?
In their own, there are many priorities, but there are enough laws in the country. One more law wouldn't do any harm.
That's Ritu Kumar, do you agree with that?
Well, I think the problem really has been created because India is one country, and perhaps the only one in the world, which has a very, very individualistic, organic fashion identity.
Okay.
This is borne out on the high street, is borne out with the way people dress, and for every one garment that anybody wears, there's an exception to the rule rather than a rule in itself.
Yeah.
So we do not have a three-piece suit, and we do not have a little black dress which everybody has to wear. We don't have the tie.
Are there places which insist we have to wear a little black dress?
Well, a corporate situation outside this country does have a dress code where you have to wear a kind of a uniform.
And perhaps some five-star hotels.
Or whatever,
okay.
airline, etc., etc. This is an international dress code, which we will, or we cannot as a country adopt it, because I think generically we have actually created our own dress codes in this country.
Okay, so it's interesting because I think, Suhaan, I just want you to react to it in just a bit. First, there are obviously some people, all of you seem to be agreeing that yes, there was need for it. Maybe the way she went about it, Jayalalithaa, may not be the ideal way. But young people who perhaps are you're both wearing jeans, and so I guess you're all wearing jeans, but you still don't think such a law is a good idea. Why is that?
Because first of all, this dhoti law is not a necessity. Okay, this law has been enacted basically because that the person was a high-end official. What about the thousands of cases which have not come into the limelight?
So Suhaan, respond to that. And I want you to expand on it a little later. But Suhaan, this young man brings a good point.
Well, it may have come to public attention because the judge was barred from it, but that doesn't take away from the fact that there was, it touches a certain public sentiment, and that there can be a legislative intent which is positive and could be spurred by something that draws the attention of the legislature to it. So I don't think that that's the reason.
So this is not a VIP?
No, so I don't think it's an assertion of something which is VIP. I think it's actually an assertion of identity to a great extent, and also a shift in mindset, perhaps a decolonization of the mind to a great extent, because the question is there a mindset that there is Indian wear is not appropriate and is not formal, and you can see that in the way the private sector looks at what's formal and what's not informal.
Does that make sense?
To an extent, but what if tomorrow there's a section of society that supports boxers, say? What if they say that I go to corporate meetings and boxers? Would there be a law passed for that too?
Yeah, but
what
like
if Narendra Modi
earlier, you can't compare boxers and lungis.
No, tell me that.
Boxers are underwear.
What if there is a section of society that supports boxers?
I think I think the error that you're making is classifying an entire set of dress as informal. I mean, in Indian attire, in every state, there is formal attire and there is informal attire. The dhoti you would wear at home or the sari you would wear at home is not something that you would wear outside.
And I think Ritu Kumar, when we were speaking earlier, Ritu Kumar, you also had a very interesting idea that the problems that could arise due to legislation. For instance, for women's clothing, what could be considered traditional? Tell us about that.
Well, I think one of the biggest problems is going to be to define, in inverted commas, Indian dress or traditional dress, because there are more exceptions to the rule here than there are norms. I think this law will have to go with a book the size of what I wrote the last time, was because every state has a different... What was the size of your book? It was huge, it was 800 pages. And if you wanted to define...
Just to give everyone an idea of how varied it is.
Well, it's varied because a lot of women at one point wore no blouses and they wore saris with that. A lot of women may have gararas or clothes which look as if they should not be allowed as formal entry into various places. Who is going to decide this? I don't think it can be defined in a way where it would meet up to everybody's expectations. Yeah. This is my problem with this.
So, and you know, there's another talking point which I want to bring in as well, Suhaan, because when you're talking about the law, many people have also pointed out, and this is where I want to ask, that shouldn't private clubs, and it's a private society, there are people who are members of it, they decide to be members, shouldn't they have the freedom to decide what they want to do?
Well, yes, they should have the freedom, and I think that's where the difficulty is going to arise once the act is passed by the legislature, the fact is, does it override the autonomy provided under the Societies Registration Act or the Companies Act for people to determine what they want to do? But I feel how the state of Tamil Nadu will perhaps implement the act is that you have a number of other acts which are local and allow you to give licenses for various types of activities. So the Shops and Establishments Act and things like that, where you may find the state actually denying those licenses. It's not to say that the license can be of the companies issued under the Companies Act for registering your company can be taken away by the state of Tamil Nadu. So I think they may face a few implementation
And it's very varied for our viewers. Just to point out that the act, actually the bill right now talks about cinemas, malls, auditoriums, stadiums. Stadiums, I think, is an interesting.
So as far as it is public spaces, the act
but
should have a scope.
But clubs is the problematic thing.
But even in clubs, if it's a license that's provided, yes, they may not have the legislative competence to override the rules in that sense. But I think that perhaps providing a direction. I need to look at the act.
But freedom, freedom of choice and freedom to do.
No. Just one point. You must realize that what I said, that these clubs were all the creation of Englishmen. And most of these clubs were created on government land. For instance, the Habitat Center. These on land
and they get on concessional rates.
Owned by the Urban Development Department, Ministry. Delhi Golf Club. The land belongs to Urban Development Ministry. Gymkhana Club, IIC. They all belong to the Urban Development Ministry. Similarly, in Calcutta, this Calcutta Club is on land leased by the state government. The Royal Calcutta Golf Club is on Waqf property, which is controlled.
The point is?
So most of these clubs are occupying.
And they have to
land,
go by,
They have to go by what the government says.
But that becomes problematic because then you don't have freedom. Yeah, quickly, and then we'll take a break and come back.
No issue, no need for a law for it. General awareness could have been done away with the owners and telling them, and especially with proposal for 1 year sentence and maybe 25,000 rupees fine. But if we see for drunk and drive case, it's only 1,000 rupees. So where it's going, we don't know.
You think that's a valid point?
Well, I think these rules were actually meant to exclude people from premises. Nobody is going to have a premise and actually enforce rules which are unreasonable. I think basically they want to establish some decorum. They want to have a certain discipline within an organization. And we can't only say that you go back to the at one time gender specific. The clubs were difficult for women, they were not allowed, dogs were not allowed, Indians were not allowed. All this, I think, is past history.
So obviously it's not as simple as it looks. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about it's happened in Tamil Nadu, it's seeing a lot of support elsewhere, but can it really be extended to the rest of the country? Be right back.